Hey everyone, I'm Nate Fischer.
And I'm Dennis Stack.
And we are Cinema Buffs, bringing you another installment of Strongest, Weakest.
That's right. Next week we're going to be reviewing Snowden, the new biopic directed by Oliver Stone. So Nate and I want to take a minute and talk about our favorite and least favorite Oliver Stone movies. Strongest!
Weakest.
So Oliver Stone has had this very long career in Hollywood, from first starting out as a screenwriter to a director-producer now.
Yeah.
And he's had a lot of high points in his career and actually a couple low points.
Yeah.
But let's start off with the high points. Nate, what's your favorite or strongest Oliver Stone movie?
For me, it was I was torn a little bit on this one, but I had to go with one. I had to go with my gut, and that is Natural Born Killers. Natural Born Killers. I saw it young, which I probably shouldn't have seen it young, because this movie is a shocking movie. But not only is it violent and has a lot of charisma and a lot of style to it, it has a lot of commentary on us as a society and the media and what the media can do and how it can just take off on its own. And I think it's got a lot to say with this layer of violence on top of it.
Exactly, yeah. And, this is one of these unique movies where, it's Oliver Stone and Quentin Tarantino coming to mind. Because Quentin Tarantino wrote the story. I mean, he said the script was hacked from what he wrote.
Yeah, he doesn't leave his name on there.
Right, he created these characters, though.
Yeah.
And these characters are the focus piece of this movie. Mm-hmm. And like how you said, there's, social commentary, a little bit of political satire. And it's just like how people consume these, mass murderers and hold them up in this high regard. Yeah. And it's just, you've never seen a mass murderer movie like this before.
No, and the performances across the board are different and weird, and Robert Downey Jr. is so awesome in it, and so
Tommy
is
Lee Jones.
Like,
exactly.
Just very bizarre choices for casting, but it all worked really, really well. So, that's my strongest. What about you, Dennis?
You mentioned Tommy Lee Jones before. Mm-hmm. He's worked with Oliver Stone pretty frequently.
Yeah.
And I would say one of his more famous collaborations with him is one that actually earned him an Oscar nomination, and that was JFK.
Okay, yeah.
I think that this is just Oliver Stone's most well-crafted movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, disregarding the message behind the conspiracy, whether you agree with it or not, you choose to believe it or not, that has nothing to do with my love for this movie.
Yeah.
It's just so well acted. I think it's Kevin Costner's best acting performance.
It definitely could be.
Yeah, I think he's great in it, and just like, everybody from Joe Pesci to Donald Sutherland, all these big characters and big actors in these really small roles.
Yeah.
And I just think they brought the best out of everything, and it's one of these 3-hour movies that doesn't feel like 3 hours when you're watching it.
Yeah, and it's a pretty stark contrast to Natural Born Killers. I think that Oliver Stone sort of let loose with Natural Born Killers with style. With JFK, it's very concise and it's very detailed, and you can tell he did his research and he was passionate about this project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But flipping over now to Weakest, like we said, he's had some low points in his career.
He's had some stinkers, yeah.
Yeah, he's had some bad movies. So, of his collection that you've seen, what's the worst?
And like I said, I haven't seen all of Oliver Stone's movies. There are a few left out, but I did have the unfortunate experience of seeing World Trade Center.
Yeah.
This isn't the worst movie you'll ever see in your life.
No,
for sure.
no.
But I just think it came too soon after the tragedy, and I just
it's
don't.
Only 6-7 years after.
Yeah, and I just don't think it was really that well handled. I just don't think it didn't make much sense to me. And there were certain moments which, if you have seen it or you haven't, I'm not gonna spoil. But there's certain moments where I'm like, what is this? What is happening in this movie? And it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, the acting was just subpar. I didn't find anything. Like you said, it's not the worst movie out there, but it's just not very good. It's and it doesn't shame the firefighters, whose courage that day saved tons of lives.
No, I think he did it with good intentions.
Yeah, he had good intentions, just wasn't executed well.
Yeah, it just wasn't really good. But what about you, Dennis?
Well, for my weakest, it actually might be one of the worst movies of all time, and that would be Alexander. I mean, this movie is storied for being bad.
I've never seen this movie before.
You're very lucky. Yeah, I mean, I think our last strongest weakest, you mentioned I was lucky I skipped Ghostbusters. You're lucky you skipped Alexander.
Yeah.
And this movie's just been re-edited and just re-released in different director's cuts, and they're all terrible. The acting's bad, the CGI and the action. I just thought this would be more of an action movie about, Alexander the Great conquering the world, but it's all about him and what he went through, and there's the sets were weird.
Yeah.
They looked almost like Ben-Hur, that era of Hollywood where it's that Stone filmed his Macedonia picture on the back lot. Just cheaply made sets, and the acting was just cheesy. I mean, Val Kilmer was in this movie in a weird role, and
I just think also not seen it, but the marketing towards it came out around the Troy time, where like Troy
Right.
was this. That's what people were looking for. Give me more battle scenes, epic, and every person I talked to said they were let down from this movie.
Yeah, because it was
Very
advertised
good.
as this big action epic, and it
Yeah.
was more of a character story. And I feel like through poor marketing, they gave you a rubbed you the wrong way with
Yeah,
the
well,
final product.
I think I just won't see it.
Good call.
Yeah.
Weakest.
All right, everyone. That's our strongest, weakest for Oliver Stone movies. What did you guys think? What is your favorites, least favorites of Oliver Stone? Leave all your comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah, and check us out next week when we bring you our review of the new Oliver Stone movie, Snowden. And I think it's safe to say me and Nate hope it's better than Alexander.
Yeah.
But don't you forget, guys.
There's no place like the theater.